With hot soccer players, a growing economy, and the future host of the 2014 Soccer World Cup, Brazil is a country you want to keep your eyes on. Today, I'll share with you how a country that was once considered one of the most dangerous places in the world has now one of the most fascinating cultures and has become one of the world's greatest global economies. I have always found this country to be interesting because it's a country made up of European, African, Asian, and indigenous cultures, making it one of the world's most diverse countries. First, I will tell you basic information about Brazil. Then I will tell you about traveling to Brazil, and finally, I will give you some information about their culture and the lifestyle in Brazil. Let's begin by telling you some basic facts about the Federative Republic of Brazil. Brazil is the largest country in both South America and Central America in terms of geographical area and population. Brazil occupies almost half of the South American continent and has a larger population than all of the Southern American nations combined. Its current population is over 200 million people. Brazil's capital is Brasilia, and according to the World Book Encyclopedia, Brazil has three distinct regions, which gives it its diverse geography that consists of coastal plains, highlands, and rainforests. The Amazonian rainforest occupies over half of the country. It is also one of the most biodiverse rainforests in the entire world, which means that Brazil hosts the most animal and plant species on Earth. Other than its beauty, Brazil has the most booming economy in all of Latin America, and it is still growing. According to Edward Todd's book, Brazil is the first country to reach 100% self-sufficiency with their biofuels, meaning that they don't depend on anyone for their energy. Brazil is also one of the world's leading countries in the manufacture of automobiles. In the past 10 years, and thanks to the effort from the former president Lula da Silva, 10.4% of the Brazilian population rose out of poverty. That is about 21 million people. Brazil is a multi-party republic, and it is one of only 19 countries with a woman leader. Her name is Dilma Rousseff. Now that you know some basic information about Brazil, let me give you some valuable information you would need to know if you were ever to travel to Brazil. Before traveling to such a large country like Brazil, you should know a few things. Brazil was colonized by Portugal, which means that Brazil's official language is Portuguese. Brazil is the only country in Latin America whose official language is not Spanish. Thus, Brazilians are very protective and proud of their language, and it is an important part of their national identity. According to Edward Todd's book, Brazilian Portuguese and European Portuguese are not completely identical. Their differences lies mainly in their phonology, and this traced back to their African influence on Brazil. Brazil is also a very popular tourist destination, and you're about to know why. Brazil is home to one of the 7 wonders of the modern world, Christ the Redeemer, which is considered the largest arch statue in the world, and it is found overlooking the city of Rio de Janeiro. Brazil is also home to the Iguacu Falls, which are waterfalls that have 3 times the flow capacity that of Niagara Falls. The falls are located between Brazil and Argentina. They're spectacular. Now that you know a little bit more about Brazil and what it's like to visit, now I'm going to tell you about their culture and their lifestyle. The lifestyle in Brazil is typical of most Latin American countries, but because of their diverse background, it is very unique. Soccer is the most popular sport in Brazil, and if you don't like soccer, you're simply not Brazilian. Brazil has won more FIFA World Cup championships than any other country in the history of the FIFA World Cups. The largest soccer stadium in the world is in Rio de Janeiro. It is called Estádio do Maracanã. In Brazil, embracing all races and ethnicity is a huge part of their culture. Because of its rich mixture of racial and ethnic background, quote, racial discrimination in Brazil is far less widespread than that in many other countries with people of several backgrounds. This is why Brazil is a collectivistic culture, and it is long-term orientated. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why Brazil is so incredible. Let me conclude by recapping my points. First, I told you basic information about Brazil. Then I gave you some helpful information about traveling to Brazil. And finally, I told you about the Brazilian culture and lifestyle. Now that you know a little bit more about Brazil, I hope to see you there for the 2014 FIFA World Cup. Obrigada.